Hello everyone. In today's video, let us learn how to construct and test a 2 to 4 decoder. For ease of understanding, the video is split into two parts. Part 1 will contain the pin details of IC7408 and IC7404 and how to identify the pin numbers and fix the ICs on the breadboard, and then fulfill the next part of objective in part 2. At the end of this video, you will be able to construct and test a 2 to 4 decoder using AND, NOT gates and verify the truth table. Let us collect the tools, equipment and materials required to do this practical. Digital trainer kit, IC74LS04, IC74LS08, connecting wires, magnifying lens. Let us discuss the 2 to 4 decoders in simple terms. A 2 to 4 decoder is a digital circuit that takes 2 input signals and produces 4 output signals. The basic idea behind a decoder is to enable one of the multiple output lines based on the combination of input signals. Inputs and outputs. Inputs A and B. A 2 to 4 decoder has 2 input lines, usually labeled A and B. These input lines can be in one of the 4 possible combinations 00, 01, 10 or 11. Outputs Y0, Y1, Y2 and Y3. The decoder has 4 output lines typically labeled Y0, Y1, Y2 and Y3. Let's say A equal to 0 and B equal to 1, 0, 1. According to truth table, Y1 will be activated and the other output lines Y0, Y2 and Y3 will remain inactive. The decoder activates one of its output lines based on the binary input combination. For example, if A equal to 0 and B equal to 0, 0, 0, then Y0 is activated. If A equal to 0 and B equal to 1, 0, 1, then Y1 is activated. If A equal to 1 and B equal to 0, 1, 0, then Y2 is activated. If A equal to 1 and B equal to 1, 1, 1, then Y3 is activated. Let us discuss the pin details of IC74LS08 and IC74LS04. The IC74LS08 is a quad 2 inputs AND gate, which means it contains 4 independent AND gates, each having 2 inputs and 1 output. The AND gate output Y is high, 1, only when both inputs A and B are high, 1. Here, pins 1 and 2 are inputs and pin 3 belongs to output. This form an independent AND gate logic as shown in the pin diagram. In the same way, pins 4, 5, 6 form one independent AND gates. Pins 10, 9 and 8 form another independent AND gate logic, and pins 13, 12 and 11 form another independent AND gate logic. Pins 7 and 14 are for ground and power supply respectively. The IC74LS04 is a hex inverter, meaning it contains 6 independent NOT gates. Each gate takes one input and produces an inverted output. Pins 1, 3, 5, 9, 11 and 13 are inputs, and pins 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 are inverted outputs of the input pins. Pins 7 and 14 are for ground and power supply respectively. Construction and testing of 2 to 4 decoder circuit and verification of truth table. Collect all the components, check them, refer to the data sheet of the ICs and assemble the 2 to 4 decoder circuit on the breadboard. Identify the logic gates, ICs with their respective numbers. In this circuit, we are using 2 logic gates AND and NOT. These logic gate ICs can be identified by their part number printed on the top of the ICs. For AND gate, the part number is IC74LS08, and for NOT gate, the part number is IC74LS04. Using the magnifying lens, identify the AND and NOT gate ICs. Check that the ICs have 14 pins with no missing pins like broken or damaged ones. Identify the pin 1 on each IC. This is usually indicated by a small notch on one end of the IC or a dot near pin 1. Begin counting pins counterclockwise from pin 1. This means that the next pin is pin 2, followed by pin 3 and so on. After pin 7, count the pin 8 from the opposite to pin 7 in a counterclockwise direction. Place the IC on the breadboard. Position IC over the breadboard so that the pin 1 aligns with the notch or line on the breadboard. Carefully insert the IC into the breadboard, making sure each pin goes into a separate row of holes. Connect the input supply and ground to the ICs. Pay attention to specific pins that have special functions such as power supply, VCC and ground GND, inputs and outputs. Refer to the datasheet for your specific IC to understand the functions of each pin. From the pin details of IC74LS08 and IC74LS04, pin numbers 7 and 14 are allotted for ground, GND and supply VCC. Connect pin 14 and the power supply point plus 5 volts using the wires. And connect pin 7 and the ground point using the wires. In this video, we have discussed the pin details of IC7408 and IC7404 and how to identify the pin numbers and fix the ICs on the breadboard. See you in part 2.